the word. Switch the bracelet on the word, the word, the word, the word. Switch the bracelet on the word, the word, the word, the word. Switch the bracelet on the word, the word.
Welcome back. We are back. The Word on Blake 7 with myself, Steve Rave. We've got Lynn, we've got Neil, and we've got Bob Marley, aka Dave. Nick is joining us. He's hot footing it across another country in a taxi. And Dave has proudly beaten his chest out with a t-shirt that he wore at the convention. Blakey's 7. Very good, Dave, very good. And none of us got the Bob Marley reference. Of course, the episode, Series B, episode 1 is Redemption. And Bob Marley, of course, and the connection with redemption. Well done, Dave. Didn't get that. Well done.
Right, that's all. See you next time. Bye.
Anyone who has watched Redemption will also realise that Dave has put a lot of effort into his costume. We are slightly changing the format on this series. And what we're going to do is I'm going to still give you a rundown of what the episode is from my infamous programme guide. But then I'm going to give my review in total of the episode, have a chat about it. Then Lynn, then Dave, then Neil, and then Nick when he comes in as well. We are going to give marks out of 10 at the end of the show. We're also probably going to pick out our favourite actor. But in general, we're just going to give an episode review and have a chat about it. And I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about with this series. As Dave was pleasantly surprised, I think, by Series A. I think he'll really enjoy Series B. I might be wrong, but I think he will. Anyway, I'm sure not many of you who are tuned in won't know what happens in this episode, but if you are wanting to avoid it, you're probably not watching the right podcast, but I'm going to read it now. Avon tells Blake that one way to defy Orak's prediction concerning the destruction of the Liberator would be to examine the position of the stars shown behind the ship in Orak's projection, and then avoid travelling there. This is done, and the star positions indicate a sector of the galaxy far removed from the Liberator's present position. The crew therefore agree to make sure the Liberator stays well outside that sector. Suddenly, the Liberator comes under attack from 2 non-Federation spaceships, showing great speed and technical fighting ability. Instead of destroying the Liberator, however, the alien ships knock out Liberator's weapon system and take over the computer circuits. This leaves the Liberator travelling at full speed, but blind. The alien ships then withdraw, and the crew of the Liberator attempt to effect repairs. They discover that as they try to regain control, the ship rejects them. This culminates with various cables detaching themselves from their normal positions and attacking first Blake and then Avon in order to stop them from switching on the main drive unit. It becomes clear from these events that the original designers and owners of the Liberator are taking their own property back. They do indeed board and take off various members of the crew before docking. It appears that they work for a massive computer complex in space known as the System. This complex serves 3 planets which were formerly at war until one of the 3 developed the supercomputer which took over the weaponry computers of the others. Although giving the 3 planets freedom from war and famine, the System has reduced much of the populace to slavery. During the interrogation of Blake, which follows, it becomes clear that the System is itself having computer problems, and Blake concludes this must be the work of Orak, which has, up to this point, refused all help, stating that it is already overloaded with analysis. Just before they are about to be killed, the crew manage to escape back to the Liberator and take it once more into space. However, they immediately come under attack from an identical sister ship which launches plasma bolts against them, and as they wait for their destruction, it is the sister ship instead of Liberator that blows up. Orak then explains that it had scrambled the weaponry system of the sister ship in order to make the original prediction of the destruction of Liberator like ship come true. So there we go. That is the review from the programme guide. And the series script editor was Chris Boucher. The series B, the series producer, was David Maloney. And for this episode, which was transmitted on Tuesday, the 9th of January, 1979, the author, scriptwriter, was Terry Nation. He was contracted for 3, I believe, in this series. And director was a friend of Dave's here, because Dave likes this director, Via Lorimer. Alta 1 and Alta 2 were played by Sheila Ruskin and Harriet Philpin, and Norm 1 was played by Roy Evans, not to be mistaken for the Liverpool manager. Okay, what did I feel about this episode? Well, I enjoyed this. I've got to be perfectly honest. I remembered the rough storyline because what happened at the end of Series A was we were left on that cliffhanger. Aurak had been acquired by the Crew, and there was a premonition by Aurak that the Liberator was going to blow up. And I think, as we discussed at the end of our last episode, it was, it could have been left there. But the BBC decided that there was going to be another series anyway, and it was a good cliffhanger to finish on. And I think this episode could have been pretty awkward. It could have been a struggle to come up with a relatively easy explanation as to why the Liberator exploded. But I think the storyline for this was really, really good. And I felt that there was a feeling with this episode. I felt that this was a new dawn for Blake Seven. In the previous series, it was new. We're having to establish the characters. But anyone sitting down to watch this one now, I think, is right. Okay, we know who they all are. We know Blake's the leader. We know there's a battle going on between him and Avon. We know that there's two female crew. One of them who's a telepath. If you watch Series A, you know all of that. So we're not having to concern ourselves about that. We know they've got the best chip. We know that they're in a battle with the Federation, and we know that they've now got this wonderful computer that can bypass lots of other computers, in Aurak. So they're fully equipped, really, to battle the Federation. What we don't know is which direction this series is going to go in. And I think the start of this episode, really, for me, they were all busy fixing things. That was the first thing. That was the first note. They've all got these highly, these little screwdrivers, and they're busy doing this and they're busy doing that. And I'm thinking, all right, okay, so it's the Crew's at work, and where are you going to go? If I was watching this and I hadn't got a clue, you're thinking, okay, they're busy and this is what they do in their spare time. They're fixing things. Then we'll have probably the worst part of the episode for me. We've got neutron blasters fired at the ship. The ship's attacking the Liberator, and we've got the falling down from people. And oh my God, why? For me, that spoils it. Just spoils it. This whole. And then Gan, yeah, exactly. Gan is the worst. He's the worst as well. I know he's a big lad and he's got further to fall. But David Jackson, honestly, put a bloody, why didn't they put a mattress down on the ground and let him fall onto it or something? Because he's just, it's awful. It's awful. And it spoils it for me. It just completely breaks that fourth wall. And I was really disappointed at that. And I just thought, oh, God, here we go again, And by the way, it doesn't get any better as Series C and D either, So I am used to it by now, but it still doesn't make me breathe a heavy sigh when I see it. I think the plus point of it was the enemy ships. I think it was made up. That was very good. The enemy ships. Here they are. Excellent. I really like these. And of course, the fact that that anybody looking at them will be going, "Oh, they look very similar to part of the Liberator." Well, of course, that it was self-explanatory. It does look like part of the Liberator, but they were good. They looked believable for me, and I thought that was great. And I just, you did feel, with the exception of them falling all over the ground, that they were actually under attack. Then, yes, I love it. So then obviously the story just worked because, the use of the imagery, the use of the spaceship, the Liberator, and, the use of those kind of cutaways to the Liberator getting, dragged towards, if you like, towards this space station, I thought was good. And again, when you think about it, it's 1978 they're making this. I thought that the spaceship and the spaceships that were attacking them and the space center, the space station, I thought they were believable. I just thought, actually, and bear in mind I'm watching this on DVD, the Blu-ray isn't out yet, I didn't think it was a bad attempt at a space station. And when you look at, Dave probably has the imperfections because Dave watches on a lot bigger screen than we do. But I actually felt on my TV, I felt it was really good, and I felt as if it was a space station. I am going to have a criticism, though. I am going to have a criticism, and that really was the use of some stock footage of a runway.
Yeah.
And this really was awful. It was literally, one of those kind of machines that you use where you go and you're trained to be a pilot and you're coming into land. And I just thought, you spent all that time and effort getting that. Go on, Dave. Yeah, go on.
It was Teesside Airport, Steve.
It probably was. It's
the only one that could film without any planes landing.
It was that bad. It really was. And of course, after doing all of that, I just thought, what a waste! What a waste of effort. You've put your time and effort into doing that. Anyway, I'll push on. I felt then, that the bits of the Liberator, there was new parts of the Liberator, and I quite enjoyed that. We were introduced to different runways, different walkways. I did pause and rewind a couple of bits to see, is that the same bit, but is it a reverse shot? But it did look, the ship felt bigger, the Liberator felt bigger. And of course, when we had the lads, Blake, of course, going down to try and sort things out, and being attacked by wires, that was laughable, really, but it did feel as if we were in a different place, and the Liberator was bigger, and it was a lot bigger and better than last year. So I did quite like that. I did feel another criticism was when, there was a lot of this running backwards and forwards. When people go missing, Gan goes missing, for example, another bad fall, a horrendous fight, and a bad fall from David Jackson. But I did think that when Callie and Villa went to look for him, that was bad. I felt that was weird. I felt that, we had this situation where Callie shouts to Villa. Villa doesn't respond. And, we see this blood, I think raspberry jam on the wall, but we see this blood on the wall. And Villa didn't appear. And she just walks off. And I thought, well, you wouldn't do that. You would go back and look for Villa. But anyway, again, that's a little criticism. I felt that the stuff on the spaceship and the space station and the aliens were very, very good. I thought these were believable. I loved this little scene here where she was, hands on the globe, and she speaks in a computer way, and then she comes off that, and then she's got a different voice, very RP voice. But I thought that was quite good. It gave, and I know when I was a young kid, I remember this thinking, wow, this is very, this is the real aliens, these people. Yeah, the real aliens, these people. And I thought the two actresses who played them did a cracking job. And there we go. There's the wonderful thing that Dave has got on tonight. There we go. Very, very, very good, Dave. Very good. Yes, excellent. But yeah, I felt I felt they were believable, and I felt that part of the storyline worked as well. I felt that they were they were regaining the ship, they were bringing the ship back in, and I felt that was believable. But I think where the space station falls on its backside a little bit is when we get there. I mean, it's a huge power station where they're filming. It was a nuclear power station where they were actually filming this, and it was huge. This place was huge. And I think they could have made it look smaller. I genuinely think they could have narrowed it down. I think they could have. I think if you're going to go with a building that big, and this space station, which is huge in a distance, you're going up to it. It's Star Wars style space station. You've got to fill it with people, and if you don't fill it with people, you have to make it look smaller, to make it look as if the people who are there are filling it. That was my mindset anyway. I just felt it wasn't believable. And I felt as well that the people who were slaves looked like they just walked off carry on Romans, I just didn't find that believable. I didn't find that believable at all. So those coming on and carrying the poles, once I'd realised and remembered why they needed him to help Blake to then get the escape going, I understood it. But maybe something more modern than putting smocks on them from like undermilk wood. I just didn't think that was right. So anyway, that marked it down for me as well. Blake, Gareth Thomas, two different styles of pain when he gets zapped by the guard. This one was great. I thought, yeah, brilliant. But that was level 5. There we go, different angle. Level 5, believable. Looks in complete agony. Then when she gives it level 7, knocks it up a couple of notches. It didn't hurt him as much. And then when it was close to the death version that he got, it didn't bother him at all. So I don't know whether they shot them in the wrong. Yeah, I don't know whether they shot them in the wrong order or something. But I just felt I thought that was a bit naff. He should have been in more agony, surely, when they're taking it up a level. But anyway, again, that's me nitpicking with it. When Avon and Jenna, were locked in the prison room together, I didn't. The stars, you could see that there were light bulbs as well. That was annoying. And again, so much time and effort put into this episode with what they were, with the special effects, with the ships, with the space station. They let themselves down with some really minor things, and having spent a little bit more time probably than some of you managed to get today, I managed to dig out the Series B book, and a couple of the things that are in there that Jonathan Helm and Graham Robertson have talked about in that book are, that dreaded B word, budget. Vera Lorriman didn't have time to reshoot things that he wanted to reshoot. And he felt a little bit sorry for David Jackson not having enough to do in this episode, that he actually stuck a fight scene in for the sake of David Jackson having a little bit more to do, which David Jackson was forever grateful for. But when you look at the fight scene that he actually has, it wasn't really needed in the episode. So yeah. Where else do I go? Blake getting the gun. I didn't rewind that bit. I just that bit at the end where he gets the gun. Did they have the same guns as the Liberator? Where did he get that gun from? They didn't have guns. They couldn't touch the guns on the spaceship because they were white hot. And then they got taken off. They got taken off the ship. What I did notice was off camera, Aurak's key got taken. So you didn't see who took the key. There was a noise that went, but you didn't see anyone take a gun. So did he get that? I'm going to have to watch it again. Did he get that off the guard? Did they have the same guns as him, as the Liberator? It's possible, because obviously it's all part of the same system. But I don't know. That sprung out at the end. I'm thinking, where did he get that gun from? I don't know how Gan and Callie got out. We know Villa came and rescued Avon and Jenna. He said they're in the next sector down there. I just presumed they'd go to the next sector and let them out. Next thing you know, they're all down in the main bit, and lo and behold, suddenly Gan and Nat appears, and they're all together. So that was a little plot problem I felt as well. I did like the teleport twist at the end, which was brilliant. The overacting by the guys who end up back there going like that, I felt was a bit naff. But I did love that twist. The fact that the teleport are coming back over, they managed to send them back over, and of course they've got these two like explosive devices, and they throw them, and everything gets destructed at the end, which I thought was good. I'm going to finish off and pass over to Lynn. I just thought, overall, really good episode. I love the fact it was the sister ship that gets destroyed. I thought that was a great way to finish it. I thought it was a well-constructed episode. It just let down, unfortunately, by the little things that I've mentioned. Those special effects, they're falling all over the place badly. A bit of overacting. But that's it. And one little bit of trivia that I picked up from the production diary was that the explosions, no wonder they looked convincing, because the explosions actually did knock Paul Darrow off his feet at one point. Jan Chappell wasn't very happy working in a nuclear power station. They all had to get checked for radiation. Gareth Thomas ended up getting bit of radiation on him, which wasn't very positive for him. He says, I think I lost a few brain cells. But yeah, Paul Darrow actually got knocked off his feet by explosives, which would have been heavily criticised by the health and safety. But yeah, overall, thoroughly enjoyed it. Really good start to the series, action packed, and I'm looking forward to Series B, and watching the whole thing again. Lynn.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, I'll follow that. Yeah.
And welcome to Nick, and happy birthday to Nick.
Oh, sorry, I'm late.
Happy birthday, Hong Kong.
Thank you, kind sir. Thank you.
Pembrose happiness, Nick.
So yeah, my overall impression, same as you, Steve. I really enjoyed this one. I mean, ever since the Liberator first appeared in Series A, I remember at the time, I wanted to know more about who built it, who were they, where were they, what they looked like. So I loved seeing that. As you say, the pursuit ships, immediately you could tell that this was related to the Liberator. So this was great. Actually, my memory had us spending more time in Space World than in actual fact we do. And it being a little more effort and a little more time before ORAC disrupted everything. But that's just how you look back on things, I think. My initial impression was that, as you say, the crew are really into their stride, right? All of the actors know who they are, how they interact with other people. Terry and probably mostly Chris get them interacting and responding, playing off each other really well. The Blake and Avon relationship is developing even further, isn't it? You've got immediately they're back into the kind of fight for dominance and control, but equally the interdependence and the trust they have of each other, no matter how much Avon protests that, to be fair. It was Avon that Blake asked to come and help with the power cable. Now, that may have been partly because he suspected we need some system or computer help, but it was still Avon he asked, and it was Avon who was willing to make sure that Blake got safe and say, "I'm fine, I'll escape, okay." And then you go through the rest at the end of the episode, and the go back to your position from Blake, and ever such a slight eyebrow raise from Avon, and then he goes. I think so. That whole relationship, which we will continue, spoiler free, Dave, but we'll continue to see that sort of thing develop. We had some of it in Series A. I really liked the fact we were right back into that, even with the smugness of Avon having worked out several hours ago the star field and the star map, and you only had to ask. The system, yeah, Skynet slightly ahead of its time. I couldn't help feeling when I watched it back this time. And it was good to see Villa picking locks again, even as you say, Steve. I assume he'd let Callie and Gan out earlier. Halfway across the galaxy happened pretty quickly, didn't it? From knowing that they could avoid this place was way away, and we could only travel at maximum speed for at most 2 hours. So in between those, we did manage to get across half the galaxy, which I thought was fairly impressive. But hey, other things that you haven't picked up on. Oh, actually, it's interesting. I wrote down that I really liked the size of Space World inside. I hadn't thought about the fact that there was nobody in it. You're right. But I liked the sense of scale that gave, because as you see Space World from the outside, it does look fantastic. And it looks huge. If the Liberator is coming into one of those small docks, then this is a big space station. And I liked the sense of space inside it. But as you say, there weren't very many people in it. A couple of things I thought about via directing. When the alters come onto the flight deck the first time, everything is, they and a bunch of other stuff is green lit, and it looks quite eerie. They look even a little bit more alien, and I think it really suits it. You could tell that something different was happening, and that they were in charge, which I liked. And of course, then ceasing to communicate or being otherwise weird is always a bit unsettling. He's there, he's dependable, and suddenly he's not on their side. That always injects a little bit of tension, I think. I also thought it was pretty pacey, that 30 minutes, as you say, from fixing things, and they have a full teleport bracelet rack again now. I saw, which was nice. But from them fixing things, then all of a sudden, yeah, you've got 30 minutes, I think it was, until they dock on Space World, and there was a lot in there. So, oh yes, and June Hudson has arrived. In terms of costumes, I mean, Blake's sleeves, they're astonishing, and not terribly practical. But I don't think he didn't get into any fights actually this time, did he? He flung himself around a bit, but there were no particular fights for Blake, apart from the scuffle with Alta 2 at the end of the guard. And the Altas were, I think, the only little bit of colour, apart from Callie's dark green part of her outfit. Then their sort of blue turquoise was almost the only colour in the whole episode as well, even before they were greenlit, which I quite liked. Yes, we've talked about comedy guards and throwing them back in. Aurak and the infiltration of the systems. Yeah, you're right. That little noise that he makes switching himself off. And the key was still in there, I noticed. Yeah, because Blake had left it at the start. The little noise is great. And the way that Alta 2 just sort of, turns her head, what was that? Looks at Aurak. Should clearly have paid a lot more attention than she did. But it's a really nice little moment, sort of two computers, effectively, looking at each other. That isn't slightly too weird to think about. And Aurak ensuring, of course, that his prediction comes true is, as you say, it's a really neat way of wrapping it all up. There was just that moment, and I couldn't remember if when I watched it the first time, when we watched Aurak the first time, and at the end, a deep space vehicle blows up, and you're not quite sure, is it Liberator or is it not? Clearly there's another series, so probably not. But they did something ever so slightly the same at the end of this one, where I think there was a discussion about, there's no point, they're going to blow us up, what are we going to do? And then it cuts to the spaceship blowing up. And you could think that maybe that was an outside shot and that was Liberator, but very quickly, it's obviously the other DSV. So it's slightly thrown away, maybe, if they wanted to do that. But I picked it up this time. Overall, I just really enjoyed it. I think I didn't pick up some of the other pieces that you'd done, Steve. I think probably because I was just enjoying it, and being on Space World and wishing there was a bit more of that in some ways. So yeah, I thought it was a great start to Series B. You say everybody picked up again from where they'd left off, and it made me want to carry on watching, and that's surely the very main thing that they wanted to take from the start of Series B, and maybe a just slight change of the aesthetic, but we've got quite a bit more of that to come, so I'll wait for some other episodes for that.
Great. I love that your reference to his Gareth Thomas's long sleeves, because Paul Darrow talked about it in the Cult Edge book, and he says Gareth loved the long sleeves because that's where he used to keep his cigarettes and his whiskey on set. Apparently had a little pocket in there and have a little drink and a little smoke in between scenes. So fantastic. Big sleeves are clearly in vogue in that era. Neil, Vindictus, not Vindicates. Apologies to Neil live on the show, because unfortunately spell check got the better of me whilst I was loading the interview with Neil from our convention, and he texted us to say, Steve, it's Vindictus, not Vindicates. That's going to run that one, I think, Neil, I'm afraid.
What are we vindicating?
I know, exactly. But good to have you back on again for another series, mate. And yes, over to you. Give us your review of Redemption.
Just, a lot's been said by the two of you, so I'll just scour my notes and try and find something a little different if I can. Yes, it's the end of a run of 14 consecutive episodes written by Tag Nation, this one, so he finally gets a day off. And I think it's probably noticeable that, this is a good script. It hangs together well. So I think he's probably come back a little bit refreshed and knows that he hasn't got to write a whole season this time. So that possibly helps a bit. First time that Peter Tuddenham voices Aurak, of course, was Derek Farr last time. And he, of course, voices Aurak all the way to the end of the series now as well. So it was quite a different take, wasn't it, on Derek's. So if you watch Aurak and then Redemption back to back, Aurak's quite different. But obviously the personality that Peter gives him is what now goes on throughout the series. When you just want to slap Aurak, though, I mean, he's in top mode, isn't he? Being annoying in this one.
He's busy, very busy.
Has he planned it all? That's the thing that I thought about. Has he planned all of this? Has he schemed all of this to happen to make his prediction come true? So there's a little, kind of angle on it there that I'm gonna kind of put on it, because it's without a doubt he's making things happen. Did he call the system up? I don't know. I'm not saying that, but did he? Don't know. It's good old-fashioned sci-fi, this one, isn't it? And it's got quite a few nations' typical tropes in it. A ship or technology which is semi-organic is fantastic, and that's a sci-fi trope. But we get that first feel, even though it doesn't look it, because I don't think they got the budget. I'm going to use that word for it. But you get the feel that the Liberator is an organic technology again, which was kind of alluded to early on in Series A when they first came on board. And the other bit was, I know the octopus wires attacking Blake were a little bit there, but when they shot it, green stuff come out, a bit like green blood type thing, which again I think alludes to that semi-organic kind of thing. We had a good old-fashioned space chase at the start, with the pursuit ships, and that's done okay, I think. As Steve touched on, for late 70s, it actually looks all right. But I think we also get Avon's superiority complex coming through here as well, really quite strong in this episode. And of course, he sits there and lectures them, doesn't he, about the nature of prediction, and then he lectures about the configuration of the stars, and it feels like you're actually in a university lecture with Avon at that point. And I also think it's Avon's start of making himself a kind of very obvious second in command and rival to Blake. I mean, if you go back to the very beginning of Series A, they were kind of lining Jenna up as Blake's number 2, but it's very obvious that role isn't really there, and Avon is now taking on that kind of role there. Just scouting my notes here, I do like the trepidation of the ship turning against the crew, so to speak. Zen not responding or being taken over and controlled by the system, which is something that in Vindictus we actually use in two different ways as well. But I do like that idea of the place that's meant to be your safe haven isn't. So I like that, and the trepidation that actually creates. Stay away from the teleport, Avon says. Don't go there. That's where it's going to happen. And then, of course, they all go and wander around the bloody teleport. I mean, Gang's like a big oaf and just wanders in there and stays in there. I mean, come on, guys. He's just said that's where it's going to happen. So let's go and have an amble about. So just scouting down through here. Yeah, that sound of Aurak that Lynn picked up, I really liked that. Because it's obvious he's working. He's working away in the background. And then when Blake, I like the close-up of Blake as well, when he realises when the altars are questioning him and it starts to go wrong for them, and the smoke is rising off the altars because they're getting burned out or something. I think I really liked the look of Blake's face. Orak knows that Orak's at work there, so I like that as well. And all I'm going to say to finish off is that the end is a bit reminiscent of the way back, or makes you actually dials back to the way back, because Blake says Earth Sector, and then he goes, "I'm coming," and echoes of "I'm coming back" at the end of the way back, and then you've got a similar close up with Blake. So I think that was quite good. Whether it was deliberate or not, I don't know. To take you right back to the beginning and reassert that kind of that kind of feeling there, I'm not sure. The only thing I got is the runway. Yeah, that's hilarious. Where was that runway anyway? How was that so big in that space station? I got no idea. I mean, they had a number of ports on it, didn't they? So they all had big, massive runways. I mean, I don't know what was going on in there. And I did like the different angles, lighting and shots on the Liberator for the first half an hour or so. I think from a direction perspective, I thought they worked really quite well internally in the Liberator. The first half felt a little bit longer than the first half of the episode, and I think that it was only 20 odd minutes on the space world and the conclusion, so maybe the balance there was a little bit wrong, and I think it would have been nice to see a little bit more of the system technology in the space world and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's my thoughts. It's a really good episode, and it's a great start to Series B, in my view. It's Star Wars-ish. It's got that kind of feel about it.
Yeah, that definitely was what they were going for, but they let themselves down on a few things. But didn't have the money, of course. Dave,
Exactly.
we will come to you because you were eager before to chip in, and I know you've just finished your drink there, Dave. So I don't want your mouth going dry with the nerves. And you thoroughly enjoyed the Blake 7 convention. And that's your T-shirt, Dave, and you're going to do something with this T-shirt, I believe.
Yes, we're going to raffle it off for the charity.
Very good. Very good.
It's the only one of its kind. And if somebody donates...
Just like you, Dave.
Eh?
Just like you. Just like you.
If somebody donates extra money, I'll even raffle it off unwashed.
Treat.
Does that add to the price, sir?
Niche.
Of course it does.
Brilliant, great stuff.
Yes, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was intelligent. I thought it was a clever way of rounding up the end of the first season. When the ship explodes, they could have done something quite lazy with it. I think you said that, Steve, as well. And I thought it was quite intelligent, very good. I'm trying not to repeat what's already been mentioned. I thought Avon, I thought he was slicing the ham a bit thick in this. I thought his acting was a little bit too dramatic into the camera.
Oh boy.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
You wait.
I mean, it gets worse.
Keep your powder dry on that one, Dave, for a little bit.
Yes, I mean, he says his lines with great gravitas, but he just sort of looks and stares into the faraway distance and says what he has to say,
Have you ever watched the Doctor Who episode series Time Lash?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh,
There's a treat.
It's
Sorry, Dave.
yeah. I always find it amusing as well to see the crew fixing little circuit boards with needles and so forth.
Yeah.
There's no explanation of where they get these circuit boards from. You don't see anybody opening anything up and taking circuit boards out. They're just wandering around with these individual bits of motherboard. And
what a great that in the front it was a box of blocks was the technology. It was going to put some blocks in a block.
Particle blocks. And they're using these needles, that's tremendous. I don't know. Nobody's mentioned yet, but I thought some of the dialogue was very, very sharp in this, and there was some great quotable lines in this episode, and it's probably the best one so far for me. And possibly my favourite is when he's got a headache. Who is it? Villa has a headache, and when Zen comes back and you ask him to do something about my headache, and of course Avon says, "Have you thought about amputation?"
Lovely. It is lovely.
Yeah. Steve was very critical of the special effects, which I'm surprised because I thought it was superb. If you go, this could happen to anybody. This. I've got green goo all over my carpet now. Never mind. I knew that field water pump would come in handy, Steve.
It definitely, yeah. You need that for you need that for a special effect next.
Yes, I've got 3 meters of cable coming from the garden there. Right, what else have we got? The first mention of the auto repair cavity.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's interesting.
Well, I've never heard of it before, where Avon says it's in the auto repair cavity. So I do hope we get to see that at some point, whatever that is. The explosive timer. Avon sets the timer, and then he can't get out of the room, and it ticks down, and then the camera cuts away, and it ticks down to the same place it was before, and it ticks down again to the same. It's always 3 notches away from exploding every time it goes back.
It's blocked.
And it explodes 3 notches away as well. So, but I suppose that's the budget. The use of Tyneside Airport was quite amusing as well. Jenna, the guns are white hot, but it didn't seem to hurt her hand at all. You know, I mean, if she's going to touch something that's white hot, you would expect her hand to melt and fall off. But it didn't happen. What else have I got? I haven't got a great deal more, really. I've just watched it. I just thought it was a good episode. The costumes were better as well.
June Hudson.
The use of was it a power station they actually used? I knew it wasn't a set, and I thought it was quite good.
Oldbury, I think.
Yeah.
And I agree with Lynn. I thought the use of the space was quite good. I mean, yeah, there wasn't a lot of extras in there, but that was for benefit as real, because these guards are just really dumb. The fight scenes and the choreography, as usual, was really poor. And a lot of the drama for me came from watching Gan running around and wondering whether he was going to trip over the carpet he was wearing. But he never quite did trip over the carpet. But,
Big cape.
Good to watch. Blake's starting to get on my nerves a little bit. He's getting very, very bossy with Avon, you know. And of course, this nice character that he had seems to disappear as well, because I guess it's the slave, you would say, who helps him get away at the end. He doesn't get any show of appreciation. He doesn't get a thank you. The guy says, "Go on, I'll just stay here." And Blake just, well, fair enough. Just stay there then, you know. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode, good script, good storyline. The usual problems that I've just gone through with, effects and so forth. But I quite enjoyed it. You don't
wonderful.
Keep the score.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
we'll give us a score at the end. Yeah, slightly different format if you're just tuning in again. We've got 160 of you watching tonight, so thank you very much for that. We're just doing it slightly differently. We're gonna give our own reviews on different things. We can pick out lines. We can do this, do that, do the other. It's not going to be as formatted as it was. There's the wire. Look, there's the wire. Brilliant, Dave. Brilliant. And and then at the end we'll see who we felt it was the best actor, maybe, or something like that, and just talk about the score. But yeah, it's all about getting the score and seeing who really enjoyed this series the most. So we'll go to the birthday boy now, Nick.
Yay.
21 again.
21 again, yeah.
Good stuff. And live from a hotel room.
You are?
And you're live from a hotel room.
I am. My hotel room in southwest Poland, yes, I am.
It looks like a remand centre.
Yeah, you never know.
Okay, good stuff, mate. Over to you. And like I say, this format is it's not about who's getting in with what first. It's our own views on the episode. So don't worry about if there's any repetition or anything there.
Yeah, well, having missed the first 10 minutes or so, I wouldn't know if there is much repetition going on here. But, I thought it was a memorable episode. Certainly, June does put her stamp on the whole thing, doesn't she?
She's just getting started, isn't she? But
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Though I'm not a massive fan of the look of it. To be fair, I'm not. I don't like Blake's outfit. I thought Callie looked slightly strange as well, and I think the only one who came off well out of it was Jenna, actually.
Villa's yellow trousers are.
They're bad. Yeah, they're bad.
But they were definitely going for a change of look, and they certainly achieved that. That can't be denied. And I guess individual taste is down to each individual, and it didn't quite. I found it a bit gaudy, but there you go. The thing that struck me really was when we got first introduced to the Liberator, right at the very beginning, or close to the beginning of the previous season. It was this mega technologically advanced spacecraft that must have been created by people who were so much further advanced than human beings from Earth. And so the thing that struck me was that when the Blake's crew get captured essentially by the system and their people, why was it so flipping easy for them to escape within 10 minutes or so? It was very much for me Luke Skywalker getting away from the Death Star. It was just too damn easy for them to get away from people that were allegedly so much more advanced than them. So to me, it irked me a little bit. So I like the episode, but I don't love it. But it was a memorable one. And I remember from being a kid that the use of that nuclear power station, the visuals of that place just were etched in the brain for decades. A lot of decades, given it's my birthday today.
Don't count.
I did like the fact that we've got Peter Tuddenham making his first appearance as Blake's Aurak's voice, and who was it? The second altar girl, Harriet Philpin, was in one of the best ever Doctor Who episodes.
Yeah,
she was Dal in Genesis of the Daleks. I was like spotting things like that. I don't know if it's been picked up earlier on, but in terms of the special effects, I thought generally they're all right, barring quite early on when the Liberator's getting attacked by those pursuit ships. It sort of bobbles along in front of the screen, in front of this planet, and I thought that looked a bit. But that aside, I thought they did it very well, and I like the exterior look of the system, and I didn't mind them using the power station. Was it Steve mentioned that it looked a bit empty, big space, not so many people, but the look of it was pretty cool. Just as I said, the thing that didn't quite sit right with me was how easy they escaped from the place.
So Oldbury they used in Time Squad.
Yes, yeah, and it was Doctor Who's Hands of Fear as well.
Yeah, and it's used in Killer as well.
With the different directors, you get the different sense of scale, don't you?
Yeah. So, it was a positive start, but I didn't love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it.
I mean, just go about 10 minutes till we're finished. Just go around the board. Just what did you make of the characters in this now? Then I mean, there's an interesting Cult Edge's book talks about Terry Nation's view about Series B, and he picked out Gan and Callie as the weakest characters in Series A, and he wanted to kill them off in this series. He didn't want them to continue, but obviously that's not what happened. We also had the contractual disputes going on behind the scenes. Gareth Thomas and Jenna, Sally Navette, wanted to leave, but were contracted to do Series A and Series B. So they were definitely going to leave at the end of Series B. So there was going to be a change.
Wasn't there a rumour earlier that Terry Nation was considering killing off Villa?
That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, generally anybody, rather than going around the board, anyone got anything to say about the characters and what they feel about the characters moving forward so far in this series episode?
Callie you know, and if you talk to Sally and Jan, they're very much of the view that this is what kind of happened, isn't it? But Callie and Jenna do nothing in this episode.
Say that again, Neil. I didn't catch what you said then.
Callie and Jenna do next to nothing in this episode.
Well,
You know,
for a while, haven't they? I mean, Jenna started off as a really strong character in the first 2-3 episodes of the first season, or series, as we say in the UK. And then she just disappeared. I'll put the kettle on sort of scenario. Calla's never really come into her own at all for me since it started. Villa's just a one-trick pony with his witty remarks, I think. Blake is getting more irritating, but I think Steve's probably just explained that to me now because he wanted to leave. Just I find Blake a bit more irritating. Avon's become the strongest character for me as the episodes have progressed. Although, as I say on this one, he was quite hammy and staring at the camera and gravitas, a little bit hammy. But that's what I think about sort of the character development. There hasn't been a lot of development. There's been a little bit of change for Blake, and probably Avon's been quite strongest of the characters.
and Gan is Gan, isn't he?
Did I mention Gan?
Yeah.
See, well, there you go. I don't think
You see?
Exactly.
Yeah. Bless him.
So I think there's a bit of a struggle, isn't it, to have something meaningful happening for all the characters in an episode. It's difficult.
Well,
I've been trying to write that a bit myself. Sometimes you're thinking, I haven't done anything with X character or Y character for a little while. I better think up something for them to do to an extent. But it doesn't appear that Terry Nations does that.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't necessarily think that you have to do that. You can only write for so many characters per episode, but you can have the other characters interacting and reacting to what's going on a lot better. You don't have to give them loads to do, but what you give them to do has to be meaningful, and they have to react with what's going on, doing nothing.
I'd include dialogue in that, Dave, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Jenna. I don't think Jenna says "boo to a goose" in this episode, does she?
No,
she reacts, I think, largely. She's there for Avon to talk to when they're on Space World and looking at the stars and waiting for Villa to open their door. So that's all reactive. You're right. She manages. Well, I say she flies the Liberator out of Space World and gets a very patronising "Well done, Jenna."
Well done, Jenna.
For heaven's sake, it's her job. It's her expertise and everything. You couldn't. Well, anyway. So you're right. They're very reactive. The two women are being reactive. Callie possibly has less to say than Jenna in that episode. I'm just trying to think back.
She does put blocks in the box, doesn't she?
She does do that, and she was obviously putting pointy things in teleport bracelets at the start. And not finding Villa, as you said, Steve. So they are very reactive, and again, foresight is a tricky thing here. But I think it's safe to say, probably, or fair enough to say, David, it doesn't get particularly better quickly or at all from those. So it will be a continued source of frustration. Some of this, at least Terry does, by the end of Series A, and certainly now, realise what he's got in both Avon as a character and Paul Darrow as an actor being Avon. And so that you can see that, as you said, in the development here. And the Blake-Avon relationship, Blake, I agree, Blake is getting irritating, but the relationship between them is really interesting. And people continue to write for that through this. And I do enjoy seeing that. That was the other line, wasn't it? about the nature of prediction when Avon's lecturing, and says, well, imagine you're standing on the edge of a cliff, and quickly Blake's kind of, as long as you're not standing behind me, and those sorts of things. It's good dialogue, but it's also the relationship, right? So that relationship is being defined and is interesting. There still aren't the other relationships between either Blake and others on the crew, Avon and others on the crew. Some of those still need to come, and they're just not defining those at all yet.
They're very secondary at the moment. You thought that there was going to be at the outset a relationship, not in the kind that people might have thought, but or some character interactions, more character interactions between Blake and Jenna, but that just hasn't evolved at all. Obviously, other relations do develop between the characters in future seasons, but this is all about Blake and Avon now, isn't it?
Exactly. And Callie, the freedom fighter, and Garrett Ware. Exactly. So it's such a shame. I mean, it's more than that, but as you said,
that happened very early on doors, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Callie getting watered down.
Yes.
I think she was probably a freedom fighter for 1 or 2 episodes, and after that, she wasn't.
She was about it, wasn't it? Because See, Locate, Destroy, she was still. Yeah, that's about it.
She had elements of it in Bounty, I guess, didn't she?
Yeah. Okay. A little bit there too. It's a great coat, no matter what everyone else says.
I can't remember seeing a character sort of disappear in front of my eyes through a season like Jenna has,
Yeah.
Normally when you watch something, you see characters build and develop, and she's just gone the other way, It's very strange. Strange.
Cheers. Great stuff. We're coming at the end of the show. Just want to thank everybody who came along to the convention in Newcastle, our first one, and that was the total we raised, £2,981. Thanks to a few people who are donating a couple of things which we managed to auction on eBay, and of course we had the signed annuals as well, which we managed to do. But big thank you to Damien May as well, donated some wonderful Blake 7 prints, which we managed to sell a few of as well, and we are going to go again. Date to be confirmed, venue to be confirmed, celebrities to be confirmed. Brian Crouch is desperate to come back up because he feels as if he didn't give value for money last time. And he was great. And I mean, our main concern was that he was fitting well. But I just take this opportunity as well to thank Dave, Nick, Lynn and Neil for all their help on the day. It was great to be together as well, for the very first one. Certainly do a second one and hopefully raise as much money next year. But we'll be around about the same time. News will be coming soon on that. And a big thanks to Graham as well, because he did all the design for free. Lots of the video stuff for free. And just great, wonderful to be able to do that for the Blake 7 community. Right. But big thank you to everybody once again. So, Redemption.
Thank you for organising it. You did all the work to prepare it and to put it together. So I think all of us should be very much thanking you for that.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And it was great. And we will be getting together again for the BFI thing down in London, London in November. So looking forward to that. But we'll finish off this episode of the podcast. We will be back on the 20th, I think it is, which is, I know it's a Monday, which isn't ideal for everybody, but I think we agreed in our group that it was going to be a Monday for the next one. So we are going to be able to do 2 a month. That's the plan. So we'll be whizzing through Series B, hopefully. But anyway, give us your marks out of 10. I'm going to start. And Lynn, you're going to be presenting the next show. You're going to be doing it. You're going to be sitting in the hot seat. And I'll be
in the shadow. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I'm going to go 9 out of 10 for this episode.
Yeah, I've gone big as well. I've gone for 9. A combination of just the restart to Series B, the system, everything. Yeah, I've gone 9.
Okay, Neil?
I've gone 9 as well. So much that you can pick up and pick out from this episode. And it really does give you a little bit of universe building as well, which is always really nice.
David? Can we see that?
It's shiny. No, it's shiny. Damn it.
What is it, a 10 from Len?
For effect, I've got 5 plus 3.
8. Well, that's good. It's an 8. That's not bad at all.
8, you see.
Wow.
Damn good.
Excellent.
It's got to be higher, Steve, isn't it? It's got to be.
Yeah.
Nick's going to have to score this the lowest.
Oh, I'm going to feel a right twat now.
You are, aren't you? Going to give it a 7, aren't you?
I gave it 6.
Oh, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
Never had that. Never had you down for a 6, mate. Wow.
Well, it was, as I say, it was one I enjoyed, but I didn't love.
Is everything all right at home, Nick?
I don't know. I'm not there.
Don't blame things about it.
Dave,
don't
you've
know.
outscored someone. This is most definitely a first.
Yeah, I know. I am the new Dave. Bloody hell.
You
I'm
should
going to
be
get
so-
Garen to roll around on the floor with you and cover you in that big
Yeah.
like coat or whatever it is.
Reg. He's wearing a reg on his back.
Great stuff.
Shadow may divide the crowd next time. Let's see.
I'm sure it will. Great stuff. Thanks everybody for giving up your time to watch us. 194 of you tuned in. Thank you very much. We thoroughly enjoyed doing this. We'll be back on the 20th to look at Shadow with Lynn in the hot seat. Take care, everybody.
I hope I can get this off.
The word, switch the bracelet on the word, switch the bracelet on the word, switch the bracelet on the word.